It's time for another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, as it's been a lot lately, because it's that time of year, Carolina basketball. In particular, I want to get into the three-point defense discussion. And I have heard lots of conversations, been a part of some over the last week, press rooms at NC State and over the Dean Dome on Saturday about the Tar Heels' significant uptick on defending the three-pointer. There is one side of the conversation that says they've been lucky. Look at the studs that have been missing threes. Look at how poorly the last four opponents have shot them. They have to have been lucky. No one's that bad. It's just luck. Well, the last four opponents, Pittsburgh, Clemson, and NC State in their home gyms, and then Syracuse combined 10 for 86 from beyond the arc. That's 11.6%. The other side of the discussion is Tar Heels are doing something. Yeah, maybe they've been fortunate that some of these threes haven't gone down, but 11.6%, that ain't luck. That's something more than luck. That's the team on the defensive end of the floor doing something to disrupt teams' threes. The guys on the other side have said, yeah, but look at all the open threes. And they start looking at synergy analytics and stuff like that and saying that there's been a significantly high percentage of threes that have been attempted. And the guys on the other side say, yeah, but they're not getting those threes naturally. Not all open threes are the same. And that's kind of where I'm going to begin with this. And that's what I side. I know there have been open threes missed. Pitt missed quite a few early. Pitt should have had a bigger lead. Clemson missed some, especially late. There were some that P.J. Hall missed in the second half. I thought he would have scored, should have scored. A lot of the times usually hits those, but didn't. And then when you look at NC State, how many open threes did the Wolfpack have? Wolfpack had a lot, missed the first 10, ended up 2 for 20. And those are threes that DJ Horn hits. Joe Girardi missed threes that he usually hits for Clemson. Blake Hinson missed threes he usually hits for Pitt. But that's my point. And there's kind of two prongs to this and how Carolina's defended it. The outside looking in prong, I'm going to say, which is additional one, yeah, they've been a little bit fortunate. I'm going to totally concede that. But when Blake Hinson goes 2 for 11, P.J. Hall and Joe Girard combined for 0 for 9, DJ Horn is 0 for 3 and State is 2 for 20, and then Syracuse goes 4 for 19. I think this is an awful lot about Carolina's defense. It's not always just how you defend the perimeter. In fact, we learned Carolina's mission of getting State to miss shots from the perimeter was by defending the interior, because so much of, not State, but Clemson, so much of their threes come through the interior. A lot of it's kickouts. It's just having that inside, being able to get those entries in there, the kind of positioning they get with their movement, it creates a lot of catch and shoot threes. A lot of them the pass coming out. What ended up happening was Carolina's method to stymieing those threes some was to defend the interior. Armando Bacot went into full detail about it after the Clemson game. And I believe he may have, it was after the Clemson game. He went into full detail. Go back and check out the interview. He talked about that, and Hubert talked about it as well. So a lot of the threes that Clemson got that were open and missed, they weren't threes that you've seen Clemson get in other games, like at Alabama, for example. Like when Clemson beat Pitt and so on. The threes that you see are when they beat South Carolina. Those threes looked a little different. They came a little different in the offense than the ones they got against Carolina. Same thing for Pitt. A lot now. The early threes Pitt missed, I thought, were good threes and threes that they usually get, but there were a lot of rush threes. They were open, but there was someone closing out, and they were rush threes. And that's what ended up happening. With NC State, I honestly think that some of those threes were just erratic. They were not great shots, even though they were open. Some of them were rushed. And I think that there was a mental thing that Carolina was able to exercise to get into the Wolfpack's heads. And then Syracuse, honestly, that game was over 10 minutes in. And I know that the Qs hit, 4 for 19. It didn't really matter in the end. I mean, that was partly why Carolina won by 36, but they won by 36. But you have to lump this game in there because it's still 4 for 19, which leads to 10 for 86. Now, part of the reason why I think this is also Carolina is because the guys that I mentioned, PJ Hall, Joe Girard, DJ Horn, and Blake Hinson, were also missing inside the arc because stuff was being challenged. The four of them in those games combined for 11 for 55 from the field. Carolina was D'ing up. They were defending. The Tar Heels have changed how they switch some. They fought through screens more. They aren't switching 5 on the 1 or 2 as much like they used to. I think Carolina's rotations defensively have been outstanding. They have cut off skip passes. They have not allowed smooth ball movement for opponents. Look at the assist numbers for opponents versus made baskets. They've done so many things to sort of squeeze teams out on that end of the floor. And a byproduct of that are threes. Now, a 3 may be considered open based on synergy. But like I said earlier, how are they getting those threes? How do they get to the point where they get that 3? Where in the shot clock is that 3 taken? Where does the pass come from? Is it a delivery, catch and shoot, or is it a bad pass where you have to reach square and shoot or have to take a dribble? It hasn't been as smooth. If you were to talk to Pitt, Clemson, and State fans in particular, they will tell you that some of those threes were just not normal threes. It just wasn't through the flow. And I don't care what anybody says out there. When you're a conditioned athlete and you play in an offense and you've got chemistry and synergy with guys that are on the floor with you, when stuff is kind of wrinkled, it throws you off some. And that's what Carolina has done. Look at what they've done defensively against these opponents as a whole. They've allowed under 70 points for the last 6 opponents. Their defense right now, I think they're one of 2 teams in college basketball who were in the top 15 in both adjusted offense and adjusted defense. If you were to take these last 4 games and look at what Carolina's numbers are in terms of defensive field goal percentage, defensive three-point percentage, they'd be number 1 in the nation in both. Now, I know that we can tweak numbers or place them like puzzle pieces any way we want to try to make a point. And I get what people are saying about the open missed threes. And I know that there's some really good players, some really good shooters that have missed threes. But I will also say this. If it was just one game, I'd be all in with you, man. Blake Hinson was off. 4 for 16 from the floor, 2 for 11 from the perimeter. You know what? If it was just at Death Valley against Clemson at Little John Coliseum and PJ Hall and Joe Girard, they were combined, 5 for 23 from the floor. And they were 0 for 9 from 3. If it was just that game, or even those 2, I'd say, man, Carolina got fortunate. What a bad week for its opponents. Although I already would have been thinking, hey, the Heels are doing something different here. And I know for a fact they did that game because they articulated that. Then you go to PNC Arena, and DJ Horn's 2 for 16 from the floor. Now, he's only 0 for 3 from 3, but he's a three-point guy. He came in shooting about 45%, 44% in that range. Or no, he was 42.9% from 3, and he was 42.6% overall. He was shooting better from 3 than inside the arc. A, he missed his 3 attempts. B, he only got 3 attempts. That was part of the success there as well. And then Syracuse, 4 for 19. Just a bad game for Syracuse on multiple levels, but the numbers count. So tell me what you think. Do you think this is just luck? Do you think Carolina is forcing a lot of this? Is it kind of a little bit of both? I think it's a little bit of both, but if we're going to look at it on a 1 to 100 scale, I'm going to say it's about 15% luck, 10% luck, good fortune, if you will. I'm not a big fan of the word luck, lucky. It's good fortune. I think the rest of it is on Carolina. We'll see moving forward. Louisville may not test them in that sense, or perhaps the Cardinals go off from the perimeter. Who knows? BC, kind of similar, but Wake will shoot some threes. Of some of the teams they're going to play down the road, maybe not so much Florida State. Georgia Tech will shoot threes. We know Duke's going to shoot threes. We know Clemson comes back again. They're going to shoot them. Miami's going to shoot them. They got 2 games against them. So they're going to have to deal with teams that can fill it from the perimeter. So we'll learn a lot more as we go forward. But 5 games into league play and 4 games in this part of the schedule, once they dove fully into ACC play, I think a lot of this is Carolina. The next few weeks may prove me wrong. The next couple of months may prove me wrong, but I think right now a lot of it's Carolina. And because of that, it should travel with the heels. It should go everywhere they go. Home, away, doesn't matter. Neutral sites when they get into the postseason, that should be there. We'll see if it continues. Let me know what you think. What is the percentage? Break it down 1 to 100. Tell me what you think it is. Tell me if I'm completely off. Tell me if I'm spot on. Let me know how you guys feel. Go ahead and click like on this video if you're excited about the way the Tar Heels have been defending the perimeter. Go ahead and sign up, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you go on over to our website, TarHeelIllustrated.com. For just $8.33 a month, you can be a Carolina insider too. There is a ton of stuff you can only access if you're a premium subscriber. And at just $8.33 a month, that's the same thing people were paying in 2000. When I took over 2014, when I took over this site, August 1st, 2014. Price hasn't changed, guys. And if you want more videos like this, we need revenue because we are a business. We are a media outlet. We go where the Tar Heels go, and it costs money to do business, but it's not a lot. It's a drop in the bucket for most people. So head on over there, sign up, become a Carolina insider as well. Make sure you hit the notification bell on this channel so you get updates every time we upload. Tell your Carolina Tar Heel friends we're here. They need to be here too. They need to check out everything that we have to say, all the stuff we have to write over on our site, and especially on those boards, which are fantastic and exploding right now with the basketball team playing as well as it is. I'm AJ, and I will see you tomorrow.